Well, this is what we're supposed to feel like, right? This is what we're supposed to think. That no, I am not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything, right? That's what we're supposed to think. But guess what? This is a little fib. It's a fib, right? It's a fib that we tell ourselves, that we put pressure on ourselves to think that we have to be fearless, that we aren't supposed to be afraid of things. And that's just not true. Doesn't that feel nice? To know that it's okay to be afraid and that you don't need to be ashamed of feeling fear. Here's the thing. Fear is a very natural reaction. Fear is a necessary reaction that we have that keeps us safe. So, fear plays an important part in our world. So we cannot be ashamed of it and we can't pretend like it doesn't exist. What we can do, especially when it comes to video, is we can face it. So today I'm going to share a couple of mindset shifts that will help you get past the fear of video. But before we dive into that, what I really want to do is talk a little bit more about why we feel these fears and how they might be showing up for you if you're avoiding video, how the fear of video might be presenting itself. It doesn't necessarily come knocking on the door and go, hi, I'm a fear of video, I'm going to stop you now. Sometimes it shows up as other things. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then I'll share some mindset shifts with you to help you get going. So fear comes up in a couple of different ways. And the main things that I hear from the female entrepreneurs that I work with when it comes to the fear of doing videos, the main thing that I hear is fear of judgment. Doesn't always show up like fear of judgment, but that's what it boils down to. This fear of judgment, fear of ridicule, and fear of failure. So these three things, and then there's sometimes a little bit of a fear of a backlash, fear of negative comments, which I think comes to the fear of judgment and ridicule sort of grouped together. But these three fears are fears that we are naturally supposed to feel because we are meant to be in a community, right? We're not meant to be solo humans walking the face of the earth. We are meant to be in a community. And in order to be accepted into this community, right, the safety of our community, we need to fit in. And that's where the fear comes from. This is a very, at a very almost cellular level, this fear comes from our fear that we will be outcasts, that we won't fit into the community, that we'll be ridiculed, right? That's where those fears come from. And then the fear of failure comes from probably, depending on how old you are, a lot of it will come from a need to prove ourselves as women, need to prove that we can do what men can do and to prove that we're as good as they are. And that fear of failure comes from this perfectionism piece, the piece that says we need to be perfect in order for something to go out there. And so that fear of failure comes up as well. So those are the sort of three key fears that come up naturally for us and that we have to recognize, and really, if we're going to be able to face them and get past them so that we can use video and we can show up for our businesses, we have to really know what they show up like and recognize them when they do. So most common fear shows up like procrastination, right? Because if we can put it off and put it off and put it off, we don't actually have to do the thing that's going to make us face our fears. And procrastination also looks like over planning and redoing things over and over and over again, right? So trying to get things perfect, that's a form of procrastination. So your video fears might be showing up like procrastination, especially if you're procrastinating getting going with video or putting your videos out there. I talk to a lot of women who will create videos and only release a portion of them because they are so uncomfortable with the fear that they have to deal with when they put it out there. So that's their form of procrastination. They'll shoot the video and then they'll hang on to it. So that's a form of procrastination to look out for, because that's hiding the fear. That's fear disguised as something else. Another way that fear disguises itself is just straight up blocks. Have you ever had that feeling where you know you need to do something and maybe you've already done it, maybe you've shot the video, but you just can't make yourself put it out there. You literally cannot put it out there. something is stopping you. You're just completely blocked. That feeling is fear. The reason that you're being blocked, that's fear. And sometimes it might seem really obvious to say that, but sometimes it's not obvious to us. We just don't know why we don't want to put it out there. So we might put other meaning on it, right? We might start to say things like, oh, it's not meant to be, or the timing must not be right, or something stopping it. Maybe it's my intuition, right? Maybe it's the universe telling me not to put it out right now. So we put other meanings onto it when in actuality, that's our fear showing up just as a gut instinct to stop us. The other thing that fear will show up as is excuses, right? So we will make excuses like, oh, I'm having a bad hair day. I'm not going to shoot my video today. Or I don't have anything to wear. Or I don't know how to make videos. Or I don't know what kind of equipment I should be using. I don't know what to say in my videos. I don't know where I should be putting my videos or what the best practices are for sharing my videos on social media. So we start to make all of these excuses, and it's that perfectionism coming in. It's that fear that's telling us that it's okay to give into this fear because there are things that you might have to learn. You might have to take the next step, and that's okay. That seems like a difficult step. So let's just stay safe here in our comfort zone. And that's the fear. That's the fear winning out. So now that you know what the fear is, why you feel it, the fact that you do not need to be ashamed of it, everyone has it to some degree, and how it might be disguising itself in your everyday life, now it's time to get past these fears. So the key to getting past any sort of fear around putting yourself out there, especially on video, is to recognize, number one, recognize the fear that's stopping you. Recognize, what is it? Is it the judgment? Are you afraid of the judgment? Is it a fear of ridicule that you're going to be cast out from the community? Or is it a fear of failure? And maybe that's the perfectionism coming in, right? That you're not going to get it exactly right. So you don't want to do it, because if you can't get it exactly right, there's no point in doing it. So recognize that fear first. And then once you recognize it, and this is why it's so important, I can't stress this enough, it's so important for you to really dig down and figure out what fear is at the base of this. Because once you figure that out, you can fact check it, right? Once we understand that fear, we can apply reality to it. And that reality is going to help you understand that there's no reason for you to fear judgment. There's no reason for you to be afraid of the one or two people who might change their mind about you when it's very unlikely that that's going to happen. Sometimes we have these fears that we kind of, these excuses that we use because of the fear. So it's this fear of judgment, and then the excuse might be, I don't have anything to wear, right? I don't have a nice outfit to wear in my videos. Well, guess what? You're the only one who's noticing. I have worn this shirt multiple times. And if I hadn't pointed it out to you, would you have noticed? Would you have cared? Would it have changed the value of my message to you? So this is the kind of reality check we need to do. What is the excuse we're using? What fear is fueling it? And what is the truth about that? So once we get past that reality check, the next shift you want to do is away from yourself and to the person that your video is intended for, right? You're not creating videos for yourself. You're creating videos for your community, for your ideal customer. So here is the key thing you need to do. Shift away from how you feel about it. Shift away from the fear you have and turn your focus on who you're serving. Turn your focus on the people who need to hear your message. Even if it's just one person who's going to have their day changed because of the message you shared. Focus on that person instead of yourself. So make that mental shift away from your fear and focus on the good you're going to do and how important it is, right? And then the final mindset shift is to just actually use some affirmation. So all of this negative self-talk that's going on in our heads, fueled by the fear, has to have an antidote. It has to have sort of a counterbalance. So here's a really easy affirmation that you can use anytime fear comes up and starts to give you excuses on why you can't do videos or why you can't show up for your business. And it is this, very simply. You take the piece that you're using as your excuse, the fear, and you put it into this sentence. I'm the kind of person who, right? And then you're going to switch your fear, right? So it's going to be, I'm the kind of person who's afraid of failure, but does it anyway. Who knows, I'm the kind of person who is afraid to fail, but knows they have to try anyway, right? So you're just going to kind of create that affirmation. I'm the kind of person who is afraid of judgment, but knows that my message is too valuable to keep to myself. I'm the kind of person who faces their fears. That is the kind of affirmation you need to be saying to yourself in order to switch your brain away from the negative self-talk. So that is, I hope, a way for you to shift out of fear, acknowledging that it exists, knowing that it's totally natural and possibly necessary, right? It's just in our nature to be a little bit afraid. So knowing that it exists and having some tools to shift away from that so that those excuses don't show up and derail your efforts to show up for your business. Derail your efforts to take advantage of video, which is the most effective way for you to connect with your audience. So I hope that that helps. Please, in the comments, let me know what's stopping you right now. Let's take that first step together. Let's acknowledge where the fear is coming from. Let's acknowledge how it shows up in your life as excuses or procrastination or blocks. Start right now with that step by acknowledging it. So what's stopping you? What is the fear beneath that thing that's stopping you? And then apply those 3 tips. Reality checked, shift the focus away from you, and use the affirmation, I'm the kind of person who. And let me know in the comments if this helped, and if you are already on the road to getting over those fears. If you have something to share, I would love to hear it, because this is a very common thing, and I want you to know that you're not alone in these fears, but we can get past them. All right, that's it for me today. I look forward to seeing your comments, and I hope that this has been helpful. Talk to you soon.